Hello, everybody. It's about that time. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews. Today's beer comes from Wiseacre Brewing. They're out of Memphis, Tennessee. This is their Astronaut Status. Shane sent this to me. Sure, this is probably a pricey beer. This is according to what's on the bottle, 11.5% in Russian Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels. I think it says barrel aged. And it says 11.5% alcohol by volume. Both Rate Beer and Beer Advocate have this at 10.5%. So evidently this has changed a little bit from the time these guys have done it, and a lot of times the recipes change from year to year. But it's printed on the label, so they printed this label especially for this beer and not using the labels over and over and over again. If these beers had been 10.5% up to now on this particular one, this year's edition, I guess, would be 11.5%. So they are printing it on the label. I do not see a date on it anywhere, but being a Russian Imperial Stout at 11.5%, it's not going to go bad anytime soon, but I would like to see some kind of vintage on it so we will know what year it was done. And it has it right here. Wiseacre Brewing 2015 written right underneath the label. So, shut my mouth. This is their 2015 edition, so I don't know where the 10.5% at Rate Beer and Beer Advocate has. Maybe that was a 2014 or 13 edition or both. The 2015 edition is 11.5%. I don't have the IBUs, and even if it was listed on either one of these sites, it's probably wrong since the alcohol percentage has changed since what they've got written here. So, commercial description says, taste the rarity, bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout. Food pairings for this beer, it says general, chocolate, dessert, digestive. So it goes well with your chocolate dishes, of course. This is the final beer of the evening for me today. Big beer, 11.5%. Like I said, this beer will keep for a long, long time. I can't think of a reason why it doesn't have coffee in it or anything that's going to fade over time. So this beer would sell very well. With 2015 written on the label, I don't know when in 2015, whether it was January, June, or December of 2015. We just got 2015. But that's enough information to make that educated purchase. So that's basically all we need. We'd like to see the month. Today is not necessary, but it is what it is. At least it got 2015 on the label, and it's 11.5% Russian Imperial Stout. So you got the vintage and the ABV. So that's the two critical things on this style of beer, and we got it. So I'm sure it's going to be tasty. I'm sure it's going to be tasty. All right, nothing else we need to talk about. Food. I told you the food pairings. Glass is a pint becker, 9 tumbler snifter. I've got my favorite snifter today, and can be sold for a long, long, long time, guys. So let's get the cap off of this bad boy. And he's got a little bit of electrical tape on there to help seal the top. Shane, thanks a bunch. This looks like a very pricey beer. And I don't see the end of the tape here. He's got this one taped up very, very, very well. Well, maybe it's right there. It's time. Let's get it on. Nice hiss. Very nice hiss for an 11.5% stout. 22-ounce bomber. And I'm going to pour it kind of aggressive here. See if we can get on 11.5%. And just enough to save for the other half. I'm sure she'll enjoy that. About a finger of head on that aggressive backhand pour. Over into the light, there is none, guys. It is pitch black. And most of the bourbon barrel aged Russian Imperial Stouts are going to be pretty dark beers. You're not going to see any light through them, typically. So, let's get a nose on it. Oh-wee! The bourbon! Very nice on the bourbon. Hints of some alcohol there, though. Another reason you might want to cellar this beer. Sometimes the alcohol will fade a little bit over time, especially on the nose and stuff. But sometimes it does not. It doesn't always happen. Rich roasted malt, caramel and toffee, hints of dark fruit. But the bourbon is just off the chain on this. I would pretty much say they've used first run bourbon barrels that's never had beer in them before to age this beer. Big, 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 big bourbon notes. Oh, that smells so awesome. A great beer to finish up the evening with. Oh, I might have to fire up a Maduro wrapped cigar or something to go with this while I'm sipping on it. That smells freaking awesome, guys. Wow. And I'm sure, like I said, this is not a cheap bottle of beer. Anytime you see bourbon barrel or barrel aged version of a Russian Imperial Stout at 12, 11.5, might as well say 12%, they're not cheap beers. I mean, these beers run between $15 and $25 a pop. Wow, that smells awesome. It's time. My mouth is watering. Let's get it on. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Shane. Thank you, sir. This smells awesome. Ooh, yeah. This is a wonderful beer to finish up the evening with. You can have this with a very strong dish, or after dinner as your aperitif or dessert itself. I mean, you wouldn't need a lot of chocolate cake or brownies or stuff to go with this. This is your dessert here. Wow. Very well done. More booziness in the nose than I'm getting from the taste. It's there. But I drink a lot of heavier beers and bigger ABV beers, so I am used to that, and it tastes pretty freaking awesome. Wiseacre, you got a winner on this one. Astronaut Status is the name of this beer, guys. If you're in the Memphis, Tennessee area or whatever their distribution is, and you'd like a bourbon barrel aged beer, this will be a great one to pick up, or pick up a couple of them. Try one now and sell one for a while. Or pick up 3 of them, or I don't know how often they do this beer. And if the ABV is changing from year to year, it's kind of hard to do a vertical side by side when you're drinking a 10.5 and an 11.5, or whatever next year's would be, or whatever the previous year's would have been. I like to do the verticals when it's exactly the same beer, the same recipe, same ABV, side by side, fresh one, and one is a year, 2, 3, 4, even 5 years old, side by side, just to see. But when the recipe changes and the ABV changes, it's really hard to do a vertical side by side because the alcohol's a little stronger in one than the other and all that stuff. Be a prime candidate. They're going to continue doing the 11.5% version to have this year's version and maybe next year's or the year after, and do a side by side with those 2 beers and see how it ages and see if it changes, it gets more complex over time and you get a little more darker fruit or whatever, just to see. And it does change. I've done the verticals before, guys, and it changes. I mean, from year to year, one will be better than the other, and one will be a little more complex than the other. Not necessarily the older one, the newer one. It's really fascinating to me to do those kind of verticals and see how the beer is different from year to year. So, but this is pretty tasty. It's very nice. Great beer to finish up the evening with. So let me pour the other half, a glass of this, and sip on this for a while, and go ahead and fire up the stogie. A nice Maduro wrap would go excellent with this. So let me sip on it for a while. I'll come back. We'll do the final chug. Alright guys, I'm back. Been sipping on this for about 30 minutes. The other half will love this, and she loves all these bourbon barrel aged versions of a Russian Imperial Stout, especially these big beers like this. It's very tasty, but very well with the Black Ops cigar that me and her both were smoking on. Nice Maduro wrapped cigar. This is very, very tasty. The bourbon is off the chain on this. Very fresh, first run bourbon barrels. Hints of toffee caramel, a little bit of dark fruit, rich roasted malt. Excellent beer. A great beer to cellar. A great beer for a final beer of the evening, which it is for me. Very nice. And the lacing is left on the glass is freaking awesome, guys. This is a great beer. And like I said, both Rate Beer and Beer Advocate has this listed at 10.5. This is 11.5. And even letting it come up to room temperature and sipping on it for a while. The bourbon notes, hints of vanilla, roasted malt. Oh man, it's delicious. It is freaking delicious. This is a great beer. Very well made beer from these guys there. The alcohol is not super well hidden. I am getting hints of that, but it's 11.5%. It's a 2015 edition. A great candidate to cellar if you choose to do that. Final chug. Shane, this is awesome. Wow. That's delicious. I can't think of anything that I would say to make this beer better. This is a 10 for me, guys. It is awesome. It is freaking awesome. I love these beers for the final beer of the evening, which is when I usually save these kind of beers for. I don't start off reviewing beers with a beer like this. This is the final beer of the evening for me, and I'm reviewing it on the 8th of June. It is awesome. It is really, really tasty. So with that being said, 10 for me, it's a 100 for me, guys. Beer Advocate doesn't have enough ratings to give it a rating. They've only got 1, 2, 3 people that have commented on this beer. But Rate Beer has this at 99 overall and 87 in the style. I don't know about the style numbers, but Beer Advocate doesn't have anything listed. But the 3 guys that reviewed it, 4.4, 4.51, and 4.73. Awesome numbers from them. They're 9 out of 10s on that site. Over to Rate Beer, they say 99 overall, 87 in the style. Like I said, I think it's a great beer. I'm gonna go ahead and step up to it. It's got the vintage on the label, 2015. It's got the ABV on the label, 11.5%, which both of these sites have it at 10.5%. So I don't know if any of these guys have had this year's edition of this, but I think this is an awesome beer. It's a 10. It is a 10. It's a 100 for me. So with that being said, if you've had this one from Wiseacre Brewing out of Memphis, Tennessee, this is their Astronaut Status. It's awesome. If you can get your hands on this, pick it up, especially if you're a stout fan or a Russian Imperial Bourbon Barrel Aged fan. This is a very tasty beer to have. And a great beer to cellar if you so choose to. Pick up a couple. Drink one now, drink one in a couple years, 3, 5 years down the road, maybe even longer. This beer will keep 20 years. There's no reason why you could not sell this beer for a long, long, long time. So, very tasty. I enjoyed this. Shane, thanks again, my brother, for sending me this. Awesome beer. And if you want to put in the comments what this beer costs, and I'm just guessing, I would say this beer is a $15 to $25 bottle of beer. 22 ouncer, bourbon barrel aged, 11.5%. Big beer, takes up a lot of space when they bourbon barrel age these beers. They're kind of pricey, they are, but they are worth it. Especially for somebody like me that don't drink bourbon anymore. That's the only way I can get some bourbon is in a bourbon barrel aged beer. So, very nice. If you had this one, let me know what you think, guys. I loved it. It was awesome. Come on back tomorrow. Let's see what we can dig out of the fridge. See you then.